Chetty's not really the same at all. When you sort of compare those two players, it's vastly different, and you can see there's been a couple of issues and sort of teething areas with that new lineup change, and it just doesn't look as effective as well. Joe hasn't had the best season so far. Looks like he's been starting to warm up a little bit. HS has still been popping off and doing up his job as well. Mick actually as well has impressed me quite a lot this season, but everything's going to need to come together.
Absolutely. I think we might just be having a restart on this knife round potentially, but we'll see. Alex C's not happy, clearly. But yeah, the game should be underway shortly. It wouldn't be UK CS if we didn't have a little bit of delay to kick things off. But definitely, this should be an interesting matchup. And I feel like this is kind of, at this stage, United Estonia are going to be on the back foot. They're the one that really have to strive for the victory here. Team Infused, they've been looking pretty solid. They're obviously on the way to our finals, and Estonia, they're the one in 4th place right now. They're the one that's been threatened by UFREG, so they desperately need this win. If they can win this game, they secure that 4th place spot into finals, or even potentially 3rd place if Reason lose their game later today. But we'll have to see how the standings turn out later on in the afternoon, or evening I suppose, but looks like we are going to kick things off here, and we'll see who's going to be able to pick their side. So let's talk a little bit about the map here, because Train isn't a map that we often see in the UK scene.
It's true. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see a lot of teams favouring, trying to get Cash out there. If they can play Cash, essentially Cash right now is taking the place of what Dust 2 used to be sort of even a few months back. Everyone can play Cash to a very high standard in the UK. They love to play it, and it's definitely where they want to try and get their home ground. On a map like Train as well, what's going to be interesting is for either of these sides. I'd favour Infused slightly more here, because I know they'll be able to sort of get a little bit more prac behind it, but I don't know how much experience they actually have on a map like Train. I haven't really seen them play it too often. Usually they like to get Cobblestone out if possible, but you know that you're going to sort of want to veto that. Red Snake as a sort of an in-game leader has always favoured Cobblestone. It's been a map that he's really wanted to try and get strats down on. He has a massive playbook for it, and you've always seen it come out. So that's been taken out the map pool, and we've been boiled down to Train, which, depending on the playstyle, could be quite volatile here. If United Estonia can get some sort of wind under their wings and try and really start to bring the aggression, even on that T side, if you can sort of, you know, start to get under your way, outsmart your opponent quite heavily. Train's one of these maps that is very different in terms of other maps, because that inner bomb site, when you go towards B, it's sort of a different dynamic to any other site in the game, because you basically take the bomb site, you then fall back to backlines, and then retake your own site when you need to sort of hold off the CTs from taking it. So it's quite an interesting dynamic. It's actually a pretty cool map to watch, and you don't get to see it too much in the UK scene, so it should be a fairly exciting matchup between these two sides. Another sort of tidbit as well that's interesting is obviously the fact with Joe, who's playing on that United Estonia side, will actually be filling in for Team Infused at the upcoming Epic LAN. So sort of there's a little bit in there of, you know, how's this going to work out. Obviously just an interesting little fact that might come into play there.
Yeah, bizarrely we have 6 CTs in the map right now, so I think we're just trying to get that resolved as soon as possible, but we should be able to get everything rocking and rolling in just a couple of minutes. Might have to get everyone back in the server or something and maybe shuffle things around a little bit. I think we've actually got coaches coming into play, which is something we don't usually see in the UK scene. Do you think that coming towards finals could be a major factor here for Team Infused?
Well, you saw that obviously a lot with last season as well. Alex C, obviously the coach of United Estonia, he was who was behind United Estonia at the previous LAN, and said that he had a very vocal approach there. He was sort of the one trying to keep everyone calm, bringing it all to a level head and making sure everything was okay between the team. So it must have had some effect to that United Estonia squad. Obviously, it was quite an interesting sort of final in the way everything went down. So there was always sort of room for discussion on if it was such a massive thing as it sort of could have been. But then again, he definitely must have tried to do something. So hopefully we'll get to see a little bit of that. We haven't seen too much of it because obviously Alex is sort of a coach that does things sort of on a European level as well. We see him at the time, obviously with I think it was Team Orbit again. He was sort of helping out with it. No, it might have been Torpedo. He's been around, sort of done a lot of that stuff. So he knows his stuff and can definitely help out. So it's there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, as we head towards finals, this is something where we might see other teams start to pick up coaches as well, because like last season, you said it yourself, through the group stage we didn't really have much in the way of coaching and that kind of things. But then once we got to finals, once it was on the big stage, we saw Neil M was picked up by Choke Gaming as well, and there was a couple of teams that were looking towards having coaches like stood behind them, giving them advice and kind of making some of those in-game calls. And it's definitely something that's sort of controversial on the global scale as well within Counter-Strike on whether you need a coach, because we've seen a lot of times, like Fnatic are a great example of a team that has used a coach and has gone without a coach and had a lot of success in both kind of methods. So I suppose in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot down to the team, and it could actually be detrimental if that's something you're not used to having. Like, that extra bit of communication could actually go against you.
It's different, obviously, as well as you were saying with previous finals that was Infused Neelan was with at the time. He was behind them throughout the season, but Neil's sort of coaching as well. He does a lot of stuff for the team, but then it's more sort of momentum building and being that sort of sixth man that can try and get the team hyped a lot more. That's what Neil's really good at, is because he's so vocal, he likes to express himself, and the rest of the team as well react off the back of this. It sort of, it might stagger your opponent a little bit because all this noise coming at him, you win such a clutch round, you hear Neil roar and the rest of the team getting excited. It puts you down.
Battle crying, absolutely.
This is what I'm saying. It's one of these things that sort of definitely, he is sort of that motivator role, and he does his job very well, and he's doing that. But you have that sort of that flip side as well. You have people that can be a very good motivator. You have people that are sort of that behind the scene tactician as well. And if we're going into that, this is someone obviously sort of Imi from What Your Ego, who's now playing with August 5, which is Rattlesnake's new team, which, coming into sort of the later seasons, obviously next season of Prem as well, I'd be expecting to sort of see them getting involved and really sort of doing some damage and causing a stir in the scene, because it's great to see all these older players back in action now. Like, we've got Release and everyone coming back, Beta, PT, everyone's sort of having this resurgence. They're trying to get back into the game. They're doing a good job, and they're players that have so much experience, but then you have someone else there with that extra dynamic. You have Imi behind them, and Imi's very good at reading the game. This is something that he always did very well for Ego, even in their past lineups. Imi always was very switched on about reading the game, working out how to counter his opponents. He was a good tactician. So you've got that sort of addition with Rattlesnake as well, who is such a well-versed caller. You have this experience where he can be that little bit of a backbone if someone needs to take a bit of a break, if you want to bounce ideas off each other. It's different sort of styles of coaching, and I mean, any little helps, because that's the thing. Obviously, two heads are always going to be better than one. You have that little option to try and bounce things off.
Absolutely, and as you say, that can definitely add another kind of layer to the strategy in the game. But I believe that the game is just about kicking off now, so we should head on into the server, and we'll see this very first game of the night kick off. It's Team Infused up against United Estonia. Now, United Estonia are looking to solidify their place at playoffs right now. Team Infused are well on the way to playoffs already, but if they do win this one, they'll tie themselves with the Working Men. And that'll be down to a head-to-head between those two teams. I believe the Working Men won their game against Infused earlier in the season, though. So I think the Working Men have pretty much guaranteed themselves first seed, regardless of what happens today.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no way they can have that removed. And this is a very slow take actually coming out from Infused as well. They want to try and take that IV control. With the smokes going over to cause a little bit of distraction, they're trying to focus towards that, maybe a bit of the bomb site. Mick could be caught off guard here as they've been given so much map control, allowed to burst out Ivy through A1 and onto the bomb site. They can find this opening frag, which Jenko does fantastically. This round's in their control now. He's going to link it into the second frag as well, taking down Joe. It just rides on both the HS and Chetty.
It certainly does, and we're going to see Jenko hiding away in this corner with the Tech-9. He's just waiting for the players to push, and he sees HS, doesn't quite get the shot though, and Boaster coming out from ladder room, and he's actually doing a little bit of work, but it is going to distract enough for Chetty to get another kill onto Dream, and now there's just 3 CTs remaining, and Red Snake has got a whole lot of work cut out. He's not going to be able to do anything, and United Estonia are going to take the round in the end.
That's a great retake coming out from there. Actually, good composure across the board. Obviously, quite a massive man advantage in the battle of attrition going towards Infused early on. That slow approach definitely caught them off guard. Unfortunate for Mick as well, just getting annihilated in that close quarter combat, really overwhelmed. So it was a great retake coming out, obviously being able to find their way back into it. But this is the scary round. They need to take it slowly here on United Estonia, really, because this is where you can just put your economy in a whole world of pain if you actually fail to link this into the previous one. Gone for an interesting buy as well of only 2 SMGs, so not too risky. Doing a good job actually getting the opening frag. Joe's going to follow it up as well, but Lungy does take one, actually slaying Mick. HLs will respond. It just rides on Jenko and Red Snake, so it should just be easy pickings from to actually take them down. Unfortunately, not a lot of kills actually going towards the SMGs. I believe only one of those on Chetty, so they won't get too much extra cash, but at least they got the round, which is the vital thing. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's one of those rounds that it's not the most difficult round to get, but it's one of those that could be horrendous if you actually lose it. So it's good that they kind of win that, and convincingly as well. Only lost 1 player, so not the end of the world. Going to get a rebuy onto Mick, who will pick himself up a FAMAS to work with on this round. And we're going to see the full eco, just PT50 is going to be coming out here for the side of Team Infused, who do find 1 kill for themselves, but Boaster immediately answers, and that's going to be Mick chiming in with 1 for himself as well. And just the 2 Infused players remaining, pushing on through Ivy right now with the P250s. I don't expect they'll be able to achieve too much on this one. Mick is waiting for them, takes 1 down, is going to get traded by Red Snake. Well, he's certainly got the world on his shoulders and won't be able to do a whole lot more with that round.
Yeah, good stuff there as well. It's nice because they didn't actually force out too many rebuys from United Estonia, so their economy isn't going to be in that much pain. They'll be able to just work on it slowly. Looking like they're going to stick with two of the Famises as well, so a little bit of a scout buy coming out. If they lose the round, it won't be that sort of damaging to them. They'll be able to try and find their footing earlier on. Well, this is going to be quite a vital one, Infused. They need to set the pace now. They have to try and get their presence on the board. Nice nade coming out. Would actually swipe 50 HP off of Dream, and there goes the rest of it as well. Chetty taking him down with a spam off the back of the damage jump on the nade. Chetty does have the high ground as well, so he's going to be able to follow it up into the second frag. Mick realising that he's starting to get pushed upon, but just takes them down, slaying for everyone in front of him. And Chetty, the eye in the sky over 4K into that round. Fantastic stuff, just bouncing back and forth as he rips apart Infused.
It felt like there was just no communication there for Infused. Like, Chetty should not have been able to just stand on the train and just get away with the 4K there. Like, after he got the first kill, they should know he's there. They should immediately respond. It would have been easy pickings for one of them to finish him off while he was looking for one of those other kills. But managing to get away with that round, and I mean, if you can have that freedom to go for it, Chetty proving that he is definitely a player that can step up to the plate in those kind of situations. Yeah, but HS looking down the corridor, does find one onto Lumji, and that's going to slow the push a little bit. Chetty again finding one for himself as Jenko is going to go down. Boaster grabbing one. And this is slowly but surely Team Infused just getting picked apart here in the 5th round of the game. And United Estonia with a very strong start to this game. It's going to be HS going down to the Desert Eagle of Red Snake, but Boaster has found him in the end. And that will finish off that round. So 5-0 so far to United Estonia. And Team Infused, they need to really pull something out of the bag here and actually get themselves back into this game. They are going to have a rifle buy to work with though.
Yeah, they can get the buyout. What's good as well, HS actually keeps going for that aggression. It's quite hard to counter that. You can just peek out, try and find that opening frag. 9 times out of 10 you're going to get away with it. And it just sort of destabilises Infused a little bit. They won't have as much confidence. Going for the split here with 2 players working towards Ivy so they can get that trade. They're going to find a hard time getting in, but this is great. Dream working off the back of the spawn towards mid-main. Shuts down Mick and makes their lives so much easier later on to round. They can afford to just cut the pace back a little bit. There is going to be a trade popping out off the back of HS though. Does respond as he takes down Jenko. Lumji could have tried to go for the counter pick, but didn't really want to risk it, as obviously being an AWP from that distance he'd probably be taken down. So things start to go into a bit of a lull. It's a 4 versus 3 right now. Seems like they do want to try and make their way towards the B-bomb site a little bit later. They do have that drop control, but won't try and work with it down through Pop Dog just yet. Dream has to find the pick here, really. They have the smoke to work with. They will just flood out off the back of that, try and get on towards the bomb site. He's going to make that call over to his teammates. You can see him starting to shuffle over now as well. Boaster really has to go huge.
He's going to be looking for these headshots here. If he can find this 3K, it will be absolutely massive for United Estonia. Infused desperately need this round, and it's going to be Roma finding the first one. Boaster still just hiding here behind the smoke. Nobody's noticed him just yet, and he's waited for his team to get here. Now he's got some reinforcements to work with, but he does have a player behind him here. It's going to be Dream finding one. Boaster finally gets one of these kills, but I believe Dream knows where he is. Lumji is going to find one onto headshot as well, and it's going to be Dream with the up. Doesn't land the shot, though, and now it's Boaster all on his own, spraying away with this AK, but he just can't seem to find these shots, and Lumji will take him in the end.
Yeah, smart stuff for Boaster, obviously. He wanted to try and slow it down, wait for the rest of the cavalry to arrive, so he had all his teammates there, so when he went in, it wouldn't be as much of a risk as him just offering himself up as a bit of a sacrifice early. Just unfortunate. Got the opening frag and then just couldn't link it into the following ones to actually take down the rest of the side of Infused. So, good stuff as well with Dream going for that early aggression towards mid. This time seems like he might want to go for the Ivy pick. They have 3 players, they're really going to hit it hard, but Chetty could catch him off guard with this aggression. Flashbang will blind him. If they can get the opening pick, this is absolutely grand. They can follow this up as well. Mick on the close angle shouldn't be allowed to get away. Dream just spamming away with the AWP, takes him down. A 5 versus 3 this early on to the round, it's in their hands.
Yeah, it certainly is. HS going to be here with that M4, just going to try and deny any further push along from Ivy. Going to go for a pop flash and a peek here. Dream with that AWP though, I'm not sure that's a fight you really want to be taking at this stage, considering how well Dream has been doing so far in this round. He's just going to be watching away, and there is a smoke available, so HS just about gets away with his life, but that was a bit of a sweaty situation for him to get through. But here we go, Joe is going to be the point man as the push begins, and he's found with his trousers down. Red Snake takes him out front behind, and now we've only got 2 CTs remaining. It's Boaster and HS, and neither of them are anywhere near this A site. I don't know if they're even going to go for a retake here, or whether they just decide to save the weapons.
Probably will just go for the save off the back of this. Obviously, this is going to be the second round Infused linked together. What's grand for them as well is they're going to be able to keep that cash rolling. Otherwise, it would have been reset, would have been a whole world of pain. If they can actually take down HS and Boaster and try and force some more rebuys out, it's only going to be on the benefit for them. They don't want to really risk forcing out too many of their own, so won't really be hunting, just seeing if the push comes towards them. Lumgy's in a great spot as well by Pop Dog. They might try and push down, potentially just trying to find a frag a little bit later on.
Yeah. And so far, they're just going to hold their positions right now, looking for anyone that's coming, hunting for these exit frags. It's going to be Roma charging on up, but decides against it at the last second there. And it looks like everyone's going to survive here. Lumgy doesn't quite find the shot to Poster, and that is going to be the end of the round with the rifles going through for those two United Estonia players, which, I mean, it's not the end of the world anyway. They had a decent amount of cash to work with this round, but it just makes that buy a little bit more comfortable. Those extra couple of grenades that they've managed to get themselves now could be the difference between a win and a loss in this round. And this is a fantastic round for them to try and pull back as well, because it'll halt this kind of momentum that Infused have started to build up for themselves.
Yeah, this is what they need. Good as well. I like to see the initiative coming out with Boaster, trying to go for this little bit of an aggro play. Spots out one man in Lumgy, does try and respond, firing the shots off, but couldn't really take him down just yet. Roman was there on the scene, tapped back, but all he did was merely scare him off a little bit. He's going to go back for seconds. Unfortunately, takes a shot right into the cranium. Does take him down. No, there's only 4 remaining on the side of UE. HS wants to go in to try and get that revenge frag. They'll spot out Lumgy on the angle, but it's such an awkward one to try and go for the overface there. Really has to overextend to try and land the shots, and just gets completely obliterated. Mick with a smoke stun. Transfers a bit of damage. Everyone is actually quite weak on the side of Infused, and Chetty's in a good angle to dispatch them, but it's just going to be so hard here, Joe.
Yeah, it certainly is, and this is one of the situations in Counter-Strike where if you are outnumbered, it's so difficult to find yourself in advantageous positions. If your opponent plays this correctly, you shouldn't be able to get those free kills. You shouldn't really be able to find situations where you can just find an enemy alone and not get traded straight back. But bomb goes down onto this B site, and it looks like these Estonian players in Mick and Chetty, they want to try and contest this. They want to make something happen, but Lumgy isn't going to allow this at any rate, and neither is Jenko, as the two Estonian players do go down, and it's going to be Team Infused getting a hat-trick for themselves finally, and getting themselves kind of back onto this map. Now, for the first time, we're going to see United Estonia. They're the ones on the back foot. They're the ones having to go for this eco.
Yeah, going to be interested to see what they actually go for here. I'd like to see them going for the aggressive play, because you see a lot of teams just opt to go for the slow default, play it out like a gun round. You're not going to achieve too much into that. When you go on these ecos, you just need to hit them with something that's going to hurt. And this is good as well. And actually going for this overwhelming push. If they pick at the same time here, they should be able to take down Roma. He will force them back a little bit with a Molotov, just buying himself a little bit of time to play with. Lumgy just tapping away as well, wants to find a headshot. He actually lands it with a deagle though. Just swipes him out of the round very early on. This is good stuff on the eco. If they can keep this up, force a few rebuys out of Infused, this is all they really want to try and achieve.
It certainly is. Right, we're going to push on out and we'll finish off Mick, who had that 5-7 to work with, but just wasn't quite enough. Jay maybe looking for more with this deagle. He's already found one nice shot for himself, and he's maybe looking to turn that into a second as well. Red Snake is watching, though. I don't know if he's really going to be able to just get away with it a second time in a row here. Red Snake decided maybe it's time to push up a little bit further forward, but Chetty is going to have a peek. Gets tagged out, though, and will just decide to back away in the end. But very, very defensive play coming out from Infused, considering they know they're against an eco at this stage. Chetty can't quite find the shots, does tag out Red Snake, but he's on 8 HP and decides that is the red flag at this stage and needs to back away from this one. But Infused, despite having those rifles, having a very conservative approach to this round.
It's probably the best way to take it, though. They're aware that UE have tried to switch it up a little bit, playing on these sort of more close, aggressive angles where you can be so effective with those pistols, and this is what they need to be wary of. HS as well in the elevated angle, spamming down from above, actually does best dream before the trade comes in off the back of Jenko. Red Snake is on the scene, but he's so very low, it just takes one single bullet from Joe to immediately dispatch him. Jenko has to get that bomb planted soon as well. Only 10 seconds left on the clock. They've got time to play with, but being overwhelmed is going to make them panic, and they're forced into it. Boaster takes down Roma. We do see the spray from Jenko as he's able to compose himself, goes in for the 2K, and you know what? He'll have the third as well.
Yeah, beautiful play from Jenko. Obviously, the players were already so low from United Estonia. They were down to like 6-7 HP. and Jenko able to just sweep across, like just drag his mouse to the right and take out a couple of kills, then turns around and finishes off Boaster as well. So really nice play from that terrorist player on Team Infused, and he's going to be able to net them a 4th round on the trot. Now though, United Estonia, they've managed to cobble themselves together. I say cobble together, they've got a pretty convincing buy in this round, and it's going to be a mad rush onto the B site. Boaster, the only CT here so far, and he's going to go for that same hiding spot that we saw earlier on in the game. We'll see if he can be a little bit more effective from it this time, but the rest of his team is finally arriving onto the scene now. They're trying to get in onto this site. The mollies are flying though, and actually Boaster getting tagged out by Joe there as Roma is going to be able to take out that man. Mick trying to get onto the scene. Roma is going to be over on that far side though, and Chetty finally arriving. All in all, the bomb's gone down though, and it's a pretty solid retake so far from United Estonia.
Yeah, it's looking very effective. Actually, just brutalising their way in towards the bomb site. Jenko with a smoke flash as well, wanted to try and get through there, was a bit of havoc, really won't work out in his favour. HS just swipes down Lumgy as well, and it's a good effective retake. I like the play from Boaster as well, because that's the thing, the rotate time on up like train isn't that bad. To get through connector towards that B bomb site, if you're close by, is only a few seconds. So if you just do, sort of go for the hide, if they don't sort of sniff you out, you're allowed to just stay in your position till later on. Your teammates close by, you can go for the hero play. If you do the damage, your teammates are there to actually respond and retake off the back of it. Boaster as well, going for that, played it perfectly, was able to get in, do a lot of damage, actually stayed alive as well, so the round was really in his favour.
Certainly was, and HS gonna kick things off with a nice headshot onto Dream. Doesn't quite get the flick onto that second player as well. Red Snake would have not been happy about that one. Gonna bravely stand in the molly for a second there, looking for the cheeky peek out of Red Snake, but again, not quite going to be able to find these shots, and I think his luck is just about run out at this stage as he needs to just decide to back away. The players have left Ivy, but it is a good start to the round nonetheless for United Estonia. They find themselves an advantage here. HS obviously took a lot of damage from that molly, but when you've got the AWP, it's not the end of the world, because in a lot of situations you're going to have that advantage anyway in obviously that one-shot kill.
HS. He's already done a fair bit of damage in towards the round, taking down Dream early on, and now just trying to go for another aggressive play here towards backlines. Roma has the angle covered. If he peeks, should take him down with an easy shot. Just waited for him to walk into him, obviously, had the advantage. Takes one bullet to break his neck, and now once again it rides on Boaster. He's done a fairly effective job of defending this B bomb site. Going to do it again. He's going to go for the aggressive counter push through the smoke. Red Snake is just there tapping away. It doesn't take him long to actually find the headshot. Now the cavalry is really going to have to do the retake. A lot of utility to play with, but unfortunately the manpower is starting to slip away. Chetty goes down, Joe's going to follow suit, and it all just rides on Mick. Does have the angle to land the headshot towards Jenko. Isn't going to go in his favour, as the abundance of bullets actually takes him down.
It certainly doesn't. That is going to be now 6-5 the scoreline, and this is a much closer game than I think some people were expecting coming into this one. You know, we kind of talked about how United Estonia haven't had as strong performances as of late. They've not really been that same team that won our first season, or our second season, or whatever season we're on to at this point, but the point is they won our previous finals, and now this is more like that team that we're starting to see. They're really managing to get these frags to land, but as I say that, a couple of kills go the way of Infused, and Jenko looking to turn that into a third as he pushes up. HS hiding away in that smoke, but he's not going to be able to survive for long. I say that. HS comes out swinging. Does manage to find one for himself. Mick looking for a second as well, and he will be able to find it with that scout in hand. He might just be able to turn it into more, but Boaster, he's got to find a way onto the site at this point. He's stuck in a ladder room, which is not the greatest spot to be. It's very easy to pin down, but as I say that, steps out and just knocks the head straight off Aroma. Dream now the last man remaining for Team Infused. Is going to go for the aggressive play though, takes the shot onto Boaster, finishes off the second and takes the round, gets it into a tie of 6-6.
Yeah, it was pretty sick there. The play from Boaster as he actually flashed out from Pop Dog, went for the peak and took the first one. Unfortunately, weren't able to take down Dream, and he's been a powerhouse right now. Although there's only 6 frags on the board for him, all of those have been really critical impact frags. They've been either opening up rounds, or as we can see there, shutting it down to keep Infused in the action. United Estonia as well, look at the money, it's horrific. Just back there onto the P250s, they've only got 2 flashes to work with, 1 decoy grenade on Boaster, but that's really not going to amount to anything. They're still trying to hit it with this aggressive play from behind. The only good thing is, Mick can make this call that they've already pushed out on towards the bomb site. They can go back round now, drop in from Pop Dog, try and overwhelm them at the same time whilst another 2 players pop out either from Connector or from A1. So there is a little bit of a pincer play that can unfold here, but I mean, once again, really the main thing is just try and do damage to that economy. It's too late in the game for it to have that much of an effect, but if you can grab these weapons, save yourself a little bit of a cash into the next round, that would be the best case scenario.
Yeah, it certainly would. And couple of players in ladder room, as you say, just desperately trying to do some damage to anything they can find at this point, but not going to be so lucky on this one. And Red Snake has definitely heard these players clunking down those stairs, finds one headshot for himself. He knows HS is there as well. He knows there's a second player and should be able to finish him off with the AK. Survives on 3 HP. But we'll be able to get away with it, and it means that Boaster is going to go down to the bomb, in fact, and Joe does walk away with an AK, so I guess Joe's the only one that's really happy with that round, but either way, it is going to be another one on the clock there for Team Infused, with just 2 more rounds to go in the half. And just check out the money that Infused is sitting on right now. 2 players with 7k and a couple more that will easily be able to afford another AK buy. They can afford to lose a round and still be comfortable in this half, really.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff from him as well, because it looked like quite a dominant sort of standard CT half from UE early on, but now Infused have actually found their footing and really started to bring the pain on that T side. This is what they want to do as well, because they should have a lot more communication actually structure on their CT half of train, rather than UE should be in a little bit more of a mixed environment. This could be an interesting play as well. Basically going to work their way towards that B bomb site a little bit later on with a fake towards A is what it seems like. We do have Red Snake just waiting behind. Only has a Molotov and a nade, so most likely just going to be playing a bit of a lurk into this. Boaster as well, actually going on the aggressive instead of HS right now. He has the M4 and could cause a massive amount of havoc, actually really destabilise the whole thing. He's the catalyst into the round, depending on his timing. Just waiting out for any audio cues to go for that initial face.
Certainly is, waiting for them to push on forwards. Even if there's a smoke out at this stage with this many players down a tight corridor, he will be able to just do some serious damage, mow down a couple of players. And even if he just goes 1 for 1, the information that he'll gather from being in this spot will be absolutely invaluable for United Estonia.
This could be great as well. Dream actually isn't watching the angle anymore and pushing up towards him. If he goes for the peek now, Dream missing the shot as well. Allows him to get the opener. Wanted to go for the follow-up frag on towards Red Snake. Unfortunately, doesn't happen. He is going to be able to claim that revenge frag. They've already slipped out on towards the bomb site now. They get the bomb planted. Everyone's close by, but it's going to be such a hard retake. Will be an awkward one. Not a lot of nades to actually play with. 1 kit on Joe. This is going to be a tough time, Joe.
It certainly is, and Jenko going to be the first one in the combat right now. He's going to look for Mick, but he's not quite going to be able to find his shots onto him, and HS now pushing up with that silenced M4. He's going to look for Roma, who's incredibly low, but the bullets aren't just going to connect. And there is finally that kill coming through, and now suddenly, in the blink of an eye, it's going to be Red Snake, the last man remaining here. That sounded incredibly like Kyanite when I said that, but actually Mick goes down. Summit, is that you? Is going to drop in the end, and actually Red Snake managing to defend that round with the power of a Molotov and an AK.
Yeah.
Somehow clutches it through.
This is really good actually, because that's the thing. They only had the 1 kit on Joe, right? You've gone for the GG Molotov, you just bounce it off the door, just lands on the site. It's going to burn for a fairly long time. They had to stick at that point as time's going through. You've only got the 1 kit, that's the downside of it as well. You're going to burn out.
Yeah, burnout is certainly what they did that round, and it is now going to be 6-8 to Infuse. I mean, regardless, it's not going to be the most ridiculously convincing half either way at this stage, but United Estonia will certainly like the look of a 7-8 much more than a 6-9. It feels like a much bigger difference, just in the fact that even if United Estonia lose this round and then win the next eco, they're looking at, if they get the 3 free rounds on the trot, they're looking at a tie, which is just not like the greatest scenario to be in. You feel like you're constantly playing from behind at that point. Yeah,
it's going to be really awkward even if they do pick up that pistol. That's sick as well. Jenko actually peeking around. Had a lot of time to play with. Mick really should have found the frag, but just took him down with a nice little headshot. He's going to follow it up as well. This is what I was saying. Jenko, he's been quite a massive impact fragger for that side, but Chetty just ripping through everyone right now. Thinks he's back in source, apparently, using a pistol like that. It's just insane. He gets the 2 headshots, looking like he's hungry for a third as well. Does want the hat-trick, but will opt to just back off, just forcing him away as he uses utility to buy himself a little bit of time to play with. Lumji on towards the site. Wanted to find the frag towards Chetty, but he's an absolute monster. Single-handedly just denying entry towards that bit on site, on towards A. He's ripped through 4 members and then eventually gone down, and it just rides on Dream and Roma now.
Dream finally arriving on the scene. He kind of went for a long detour around the map for a bit there, but he has joined his teammate on this A site and very close to going down 1 HP, but he still has that AWP in hand, and you can still do damage regardless of how low you are. Roma finds yet another one, and it's only going to be Joe remaining with that M4, but look at the HP remaining for these enemy players. He's got Dream on 1 and Roma on 15. Just a couple of bullets in the right direction will pick him up around here. And realistically, he needs to get this round for United Estonia if they want to guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs. And now he's going to push forwards onto this side, all on his own though, and he gives away where he is. Roma doesn't spin around just yet though, and Joe just going to be charging on through Rambo style at this stage, just desperately trying to find these players, maybe trying to bait them out with the footsteps, but at this stage I'm not sure it's really going to be enough. They know where he is, and that is going to be Dream taking the foot shot with the up and taking another round for Team Infused. So the end of the first half is going to be 6-9, a scoreline in favour of Team Infused. But honestly, United Estonia, partway through that round, looked pretty indomitable.
It's true. I mean, that's the thing as well. With that CT half, if you can find your footing early on, you start to get yourself a little bit of leverage to work with. They did a good job on there. It looked like sort of, they were just going to slowly trickle their way through, have a very dominant half, but Infused finally snapped. They were able to sort of respond. They worked out what the issues were, got that out of the way, and really started hitting and where it hurt. And this is the thing as well, you need to do that. You can't have a weak T side on a map like Train. You can definitely be a lot more explosive, and it's one of these maps that as well, I think, a lot more, it's where that 9th round plays a huge part as well, because you want to try and get that CT side. It's not as bad in the UK scene as it is sort of on a European level. It feels like it's sort of stunted a little bit and isn't as ridiculously sort of more CT sided. Things have sort of come into a bit of a curve sort of all round as well, but you definitely need to have a good CT half. You can't have sort of an average CT half on a map like Train, and it's unfortunate for UE as well that it has gone into a 6-9 scoreline. It should have been sort of the other way, you'd imagine, but this is the scary factor, because now Infused, you really assume they'd have a lot better communication, being a team that practices a lot more. They've got a lot more sort of behind them, whereas UE is a bit more of a mix. It's not as sort of uptight, it's not as sort of defined in what it is. So Infused, really, this is where they need to shine. They've got a lot of impact fraggers. That CT side is all about hitting your shots, and it's all about that communication. So they need to lock it down early. With the buy as well, we see 1 kit of armor actually going on towards Jenko, 2 flashes, 1 nade and 2 smokes. They have a kit as well on Roma, but the A bomb site is going to be under onslaught. No one there to immediately sniff out what's going down. We will see the fake start to come out. Jenko as well is close by with a USP, and luckily the bomb will go down the smoke. Spots out Joe as he's on the ladder, but it's going to be quite hard for him to actually take him down. Eventually takes Boaster out of the situation, but HS, not 1 frag, but 2, as he links both of those together, and it just rides into a 3 versus 4 now. Dream in an awkward angle as well with a CZ trying to tap away to compose himself, but really can't quite do it. And now it's just left on Lumji, the silent assassin, with that USP. Can he find another 3 frags?
Well, it's going to be Chetty with a Glock this time. We've already seen what Chetty can do with a pistol this game, and will just prove us right on that one as well, as he grabs yet another headshot, that one onto Lumji, and finds a round for United Estonia. A very, very important pistol round as well for UE in that one, because had they lost that one, had they got another couple of rounds down, that's where it really starts to get a little bit dicey. But United Estonia now should, in theory, have a couple of relatively easy rounds to work with while they've got that economic advantage, and Team Infused won't be able to get much of a buy on the scoreboard for another couple of times, especially being on the CT side, but the CZ is going to be more than enough. Boaster finally shuts down Lumji, but he's going to be more than happy with that round. And now the 3 remaining CTs are going to push on in towards this A site, but they're outnumbered. But they do definitely have their opponents outgunned at this stage. The bomb is going to go down. Boaster making sure that happens. But here we go. HS looking for one on Chichenko, and he will be able to find it. And he gets a second one as well. This is why they call him HS, ladies and gentlemen, as he mows down a 3rd, gets himself a hat-trick, and gets another round for United Estonia.
Yeah, really good stuff there. Nice damage actually being done by Boaster to sort of stop that. I mean, we saw it early on. It was really great stuff. And this is what we wanted to see on these ecos. Try and hit them with the initiative play. Spice it up a little bit. Catch them off guard. The pop dog push worked out really well, picking up those 2 frags. That's 2 rebuys that come out. HS is actually going to go for the Mat 10 as well, as he knows his opponents are still on eco. He can rack up a ridiculous amount of money, because you can really just shred through everyone without armor. So this should just be a bloodbath towards A right now. Really, Infused should get pulverized.
Certainly should, and looks like that might be what's happening, as HS finds one with the Mac 10 there. Lumji going to go down as well, and now just 3 CTs remaining. They're looking for a pretty impossible retake, especially if Red Snake is going to continue shooting like that. Chetty just going to nail Jenko against the wall. And now Dream with nothing but a Dream in this round, and will end up getting taken down by Joe. So now we're all tied up, and Infused are going to be able to get some rifles to work with. This is where the game really starts to kick off for these teams.
Yeah, into this first rifle round. First full buy for either side. They have to bring the pain. A little bit of a skimp on nades as well for Infused. They didn't have a ridiculous amount of funds to play with. Only 4 flashbangs, 2 smokes, and just the 1 Molotov on Lumji, really. So delaying the push or doing any early damage with nades is going to be quite hard. You can see it been trickled away as well off the back of using that utility so early on. And Lumji, he's going to hit the ground, gets taken down. We will see with a response frag coming off the back of Dream, but already a ridiculous amount of damage has been done from United Estonia. They've turned through the opposition, and it just rides on Dream himself with the backup of his brother in arms, Jenko. It's going to be a hard retake. They don't have the kit. Do have the flashbang if they want to try and go for a bit of a cheeky play, potentially just push through the smoke and try and catch the Z's off guard. They're in such good afterplants as well, and Dream missing the opening shot. It's going to make their lives so much harder. Jenko does eventually goes in, sprints in towards the site, links one, actually finds the follow-up as well towards Mick. Boaster takes down Jenko, but it all just rides on Dream. Orb in hand, has the smoke. Can he find the frag?
Well, he's going to try and bait Boaster out of his hiding spot right now, but I think he's just about run out of time at this stage. He's really going to struggle to win this round out in the end, and Boaster will go down, but Dream, he knows he doesn't have time for that one anymore, especially without a defuse kit, and he's just going to have to walk away with just the 3 kills. Still has his AWP to work with, though, so, you know, they lost the round. At least they managed to keep that AWP. That is the most expensive weapon that they had, and obviously the most important one to keep, but they're certainly not going to be happy with that result, that's for sure. United Estonia going to be over the moon, though. Obviously, they did lose their players out, so they can get this full buy, but if that keeps on happening, it's really going to hurt them in the long run.
Yeah, into this round as well, it really all rides on Dream. He has to sort of be that organic rock that just needs to roll around the map, try and find those opening frags, be such an impactful player. He has to sort of go for those hero plays into this. It's the only way they're going to try and pick it up. They don't have a real rep, and that's awkward as well. I wanted to find that frag towards Electric Box. Lumji eventually did bring it back as he spammed in towards Chetty. Jenko actually takes down Boaster as well. This is looking like a fairly healthy round. Mick will respond as he takes down Roma, but there's Dream with the AWP on the scene, and he's keeping up the tempo now. Takes down Joe as well, and all of a sudden it's just left on HS. An eco round that's gone ridiculously in their favour. They had no stake into it, but they have really gripped onto it with both hands, and HS he's going to have to turn to a complete demigod here. Needs to get the 4K. They've all upgraded as well to some advanced weapons. Their Arsenal looking fairly healthy. Spots out Red Snake. A little bit awkward. Took a bit of damage, but did eventually flick over on towards his head and pop him down with a single shot. He's got to keep up this tempo from Connector as well. Lumji had the angle just risen slightly higher and was able to tap into him and turns him into a corpse.
Certainly did, and that's one of those moments where you just wish you never threw that grenade. It always seems to happen. You just throw that grenade, and as you needed to be able to shoot your opponent, you're just going to get caught off guard, unawares, and will get taken down. But now the Tech 9 buy going to come out for United Estonia. 10-10 is the score, and suddenly it feels like they're the ones on the back foot. After a convincing few rounds, they've just kind of lost too many players on each of those rounds for it really to build them much of a bank, really. And now Chetty with that scout is really going to have to do a lot of work for his team. That's the only investment they've really been able to make, and goodbye Team United Estonia right now, because we've got Lumji on the case, and he is not happy. Now there's Jenko with those 2 kills in this round early on. Boaster with the Tech 9 as well as Mick. They've certainly got their work cut out. I don't really think there's going to be a whole lot they're going to be able to achieve this round.
No, just Boaster and Mick left for those Tech 9s. They're sort of weapons that you want to use in that explosive fashion as well. You want to hit them hard, just charge in, go for the running gun style CS, just tap away, try and overwhelm them a little bit. And Lumji as well, he's on the hunt here. Easier frag for him. The distance obviously into his favour. He catches Mick off guard. Boaster's just got to react. He has to just basically push in. It's a nice little awkward angle, this, because if Jenko doesn't spot out his feet, should take him down. He is checking it. So yeah, smart stuff from Jenko. Spots out his little feet and can tap into him.
Yeah, Jenko having a bit of a stellar round there as well. Was against armoured opponents, but still able to grab himself a 3K there. But now United Estonia once more can grab some rifles for themselves. And one of the things that we were saying about United Estonia near the start of the season is some of these players are absolutely massive when it comes to the AK-47s, just spray control and things. But one of those players that we were harking on about near the start of the season was Fetz, and obviously he's no longer part of this lineup. So definitely feels like the lack of him has hurt this team a little bit, but Mick trying to prove me wrong in this round as he takes the first headshot. Now he's looking for Jenko as well, but will get answered as Red Snake going to smoke off Ivy, and Boaster finds one. It's turning it into a 3 versus 3. The CTs slowly but surely kind of getting bullied off these sites at this stage as Red Snake and Dream both still over towards this A site, but they've been surrounded, and now Dream is the last man remaining. He's got that AWP, but he's missing his shots, and it's just not going to be good enough as HS finishes him off, grabs the AWP for himself. And that's going to be, yet again, the scoreboard tied up at 11-11.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate stuff there from Infused as well. Luckily, they had a fair bit of cash in the banks. The rebar will be coming out. Aren't actually going to try and go for the AWP as well, as the money wasn't too fantastic. So skimping a little bit. Dream, it seemed quite awkward into that. It seemed like he went a little bit standard. Couldn't land his shots as well. It's so awkward trying to go for the no-scopes, obviously that close towards the bomb train. This has allowed HS to pick it up. We know how damaging he can be. He can really be quite a massive factor in getting those openers, especially working towards Ivy. If he catches out Red Snake here with a smoke in his hand, that could be a free pick to try and be a little bit of an opener in towards the round.
It certainly could, but speaking of Ivy, HS trying to use a Tech 9 there just to get something through the smoke, but he's not quite going to be able to find it. Obviously, he does have that AWP if he was seriously looking for that frag, but it seems like United Estonia not really willing to commit to any site just yet, trying to get more information, trying to find, if not a frag, then at least like a spot onto someone so they can turn it into something more. But Dream is going absolutely insane right now. Will go down in the end as I managed to fail to capture all of the action. HS will find one for himself. He's the last man remaining now for United Estonia. He's got an AWP though, so definitely not impossible for him to pull this one back, but he's looking at a full ace if he does get it. He's already on those 2 kills. We'll see if miracles can happen.
Yeah, obviously, AWP in hand. Just tiptoeing around right now. Depends what else he can spot out. Towards A2, there is one man just waiting. This is good positioning as well from Red Snake, because he has so much information. You can check either sides. This is so awkward. He has actually been able to sneak up towards barrier, behind bomb train as well. If he clears it, should take down Roma, an easy shot. Will be able to respond as well. Fun with his nades. Wants to clear the site before he actually goes for the frag. Just pushes around him. A little bit of an awkward spam comes out, but he eventually is able to take a bit of confidence and take him down. And smoke it off as well as there's a connector play, but has to just get the bomb planted. Really, Red Snake can go for the peak, and easy frag and eliminates him.
That was a little bit scary for a second there with that Tech 9 when he missed the first couple of shots. I thought he was just going to get turned on, but doesn't manage to pick up the 3rd kill in the end. But as you all saw, ran out of time, and that meant that he just had to try desperately to get that bomb down. I think he knew as well in that situation he wasn't going to get the bomb down. They weren't going to just allow that to happen, but when the clock is ticking, you just don't have the luxury of time to play with. And
so I think that smoke actually goes on towards the left side of the right side of bomb train and just smokes it off from connector. So basically they're just going to hit the site really hard, hoping they've blocked off the line of sight so they don't get spotted out. Yeah, it does go over. She might have been on the left side. But yeah, they're just going to try and basically push out, get on towards the site. Hopefully the lines of sight are blocked off and just go for the bomb plant. That's all they really want to do in towards this round. Unfortunately, they are getting shut down. Mick will find one on towards Roma. Can they keep the tempo rolling? Joe with a frag towards Dream. Mick will eventually be eliminated, and it just rides big boy Joe. Runs the headshot on towards Lumji. Will actually be able to daintily jump across connector. Upgrades towards the M4 as well. Aware of the position of Jenko and Red Snake off the back of the frag. Red Snake is just going to be sprinting out of there though. Wants to try and rotate round. Actually get back towards mid main and then catch Joe off guard. Joe clearing all the angles. Doesn't have a lot of time to play. 50 seconds. Can actually recover the bomb and then try and work from there.
Certainly can. Is going to have that M4 to work with as well, but no armor in this situation, which not going to be the funnest scenario to find yourself in, but certainly does have the means to do it. Does he have the ways though, as he gets tagged incredibly low? Jenko just waiting around the corner. Screams boo as he sprays him down and finishes off yet another round for Team Infused. 11-13 now, and Team Infused, they're on the cusp of victory right now. And United Estonia with a bit of a sorry economy to be looking at right now. Can't really go for a full buy here. A lot of grenades missing from their lineup, and Infused with the exact opposite situation.
We haven't seen too much initiative really as well from UB. It's been sort of just aggressive pushes rather than actually any sort of smoke takes. There's not too much structure on their T side, and I don't know if this is they don't play train too much as well. We haven't really seen any smoke takes just towards A early on. The only time we've actually seen one was the sort of smoke that went towards bomb train that came out from HS to give them a little bit of leeway, just zoning out the CTs a little bit more than usual. This is a good setup as well though, with 3 players towards Ivy. It gives you a lot more sort of a lifeline actually trying to batter your way in. It's quite a hard area to gain control of, so it works out a lot better with the setup.
Certainly does. Well, Red Snake waiting around this corner, as is Roma. A nice little crossfire set up here should the T's push, but they're biding their time, waiting for an opportunity, maybe waiting just for a little bit more information, looking to hear some footsteps. But it is going to be Chetty starting this one off. Does get taken down though and traded straight back across as Joe finds one onto Roma. And now 3 terrorists remaining. Make that. No, still 3 actually. It's Jenko. It's going to be the last CT remaining. Does have the M4 to work with. Needs to make something happen right now. Does get Boaster, but it's not going to be enough. And it's going to be another round for United Estonia in the end.
That was actually a good round from Joe as well, picking up the 3K, really starting to fire off. We need to see more of that. Only 9 frags on a board from him. Considering he was someone sort of on this lineup, if it would have been Joe from the previous season, he would have been up there right now with those sort of 20 frags, leading sort of the charge with Chetty and HS, bringing the pain. He's really sort of been in a little bit of a slump, so it's unfortunate. He needs to try and get back into that older form and really start firing from all cylinders, because if this entire team starts popping off, that's when UE are at their scariest. They have so much potential there, it's just sort of started to slip away. Good stuff from Jenko as well, going for the information play. Got a lot longer of a lifeline. Chetty actually letting him get away with a fair bit of that. Mumji as well just sitting underneath Pop Dog by Ladder. Should catch them off guard if they want to go for this play. He's just basically going to lurk as the rest of his teammates try and off himself up. They only have the P250s and no nades to work with, so just seeing if they can find anything. Maybe a rifle to try and scavenge away with. It's going to be far too awkward that up close on the site, and they're just going to hit the ground.
Yeah, they certainly are. He said they were looking to just try and find anything, but they found absolutely nothing in that round, and looks like a bit of a force coming out now for Infused. They're desperate to try and get these rounds on the board. Just going no helmets for this one. Got some body armor, got some grenades to work with. A fair few smokes, at least, and a couple of high explosives as well. But certainly not a fantastic position to be in. And United Estonia, after a fantastic start and then a bit of a lackluster kind of lull in that first half, they've managed to pull themselves back together, and now they're in the driving seat. They're the ones that are looking towards a victory at this stage. But Infused, I mean, I say, obviously it is a force buy. They're not in the greatest spot, but a rifle is a rifle, and you can definitely make it happen.
Yeah, here's the cool thing as well, is even though they don't have much smokes, they've been much utility in sort of overall to really zone out. UE early on, they've gone for the sort of smart play by actually pushing around. Look at all the map control they've got. They know this is going to be a big play. There's no chance of it actually being a, unless it was a pop dog push. They start to follow on towards the site. Everyone's close by to respond. This should be an easy hold for Infused, really. Joe's going to try and get the bomb down. Jenko just going in. Wanted to find the frag, but Chetty unfortunately snaps round and just swipes him down cleanly. And it rides on a 4 versus 5 now. A fair bit of damage has been transferred over towards the T's, but Chetty is popping off. HS comes in with a blow as well, with a right hook on towards Red Snake, and it's just Dream and Roma. Dream, as he glides through the air, will actually take down Mick, follows up the frag as well on towards Chetty. Close by, he has to try and do more. Didn't realise Joe was just sitting in towards Bomb Train, and now Roma in such a horrific spot. A 1 versus 3 when they're all around him. Hammering down will eventually best Joe, but Boaster was there to respond, and UE, they take the lead once again.
Yeah, and that is my definition of a messy, messy round right there. Kills traded left, right and centre, but it is going to be United Estonia who come up on top of all of the chaos. And they are going to find themselves yet another round. And just look how much money that Boaster has to play with. He's still got $8,000 after a full buy this round, although he obviously did take his rifle through. But regardless, he's definitely going to be feeling very comfortable here. And they're just 2 rounds away from victory. And this one's looking like a relatively easy round, as obviously that force last round is going to mean that Red Snake and Jenko, as the last 2 with just P250s, they're not going to make anything happen right now. Joe finishes off that last player. And now United Estonia on game point, match point. 1 round away from taking this one out and guaranteeing themselves that spot at playoffs. Team Infused, they're just playing for seeding at this point. And in fact, should UE win this one, they're going to be tied with Team Infused. So I'll have to ask the admins on who is actually going to win out in seeding after this result, should United Estonia win out this actual match. But it is going to be HS just taken out straight away by Red Snake, not having any of it on this round. Roma just watching towards Ivy. Does not want to let them get away with this push. But Joe feeling brave by the looks of things. I think he might just go for this one anyway, even though there's been a couple of grenades, even though there's a smoke there. And Chetty, once again, he's really been kind of the point man for United Estonia, it feels, this game. We've seen a lot of situations where Chetty's just charged straight in head first and managed to get a couple of headshots to open things up for his team. But Boaster just going to get denied as he tries to get that aggressive peek around that corner.
So there is actually potential for overtime into this, as Infused, they've really started to get second win. They're just shutting down everyone that peeks, and Lumji so on point right now with the 2K. That was a beautiful shot on towards Joe, and it just rides on. Mick would have to grab the bomb. 45 seconds left to play with up against 5 men. There's no chance he's going to be able to find this. Should just be an easy frag. Actually does break Lumji down, swipes him out of the equation. Has the smoke as well, but time is ticking away, Joe. There's not too much. He's going to start to panic and really has to react soon. And it won't even matter. Through the wall and through the smoke, Dream with the AWP shot.
Yeah, and here we go. Again, obviously it is still a match point for United Estonia. I said they've still got money to work with, and they do. They're going to have a fault buy here. I believe just a Tech 9 for HS, but a lot of times it feels like a Tech 9 is stronger than a rifle. Does have an AWP, actually. It was just waiting on the floor for him. But Team Infused, they've made it happen last round with a much weaker buy than what they've got to work with here. And we'll see if they can push this first game of the night to overtime. It is week 7. I definitely want to see some overtimes. I want to see some close, sweaty games coming out here. And we definitely have a close game, even if it's not overtime at this stage.
And it is a hot day. So
it is.
Everyone's very sweaty.
It's definitely sweaty, that's for sure. You don't even want to know.
God. My entire body is like a swimming pool, Joe.
I know, mate. I swam in it. I don't know. I'm sorry about that, everyone.
Cheeky boy. Slow round actually coming out though as they try and line themselves up. I'm not too sure if they might actually want to try and go for the window smokes out towards A. I can't really tell, but no, it doesn't seem like it. They are moving around. One of them actually gone down to try and take drop down control. That is going to be Mick. He's going to push out the back of his teammate as well. The bomb is close by on Chetty, so if he peeks, he's all on his own as well. So this could be quite an awkward round if they actually find the initial frag on towards him. Both on this elevated angle. Should be able to take down Red Snake if the peak comes towards him. They begin to reposition as well now. Is actually going to be that B play. Just a default early to see if anyone was going to get in towards them. They could actually try and find the opening frag. Didn't really go their favour, so just take it slow. Begin to regroup. Still 30 seconds left on the clock. They've wasted so much utility on Infused though. If you look, basically bone dry at this point in terms of nades. They can start to make their push towards B. Nice use of the smoke as well. Joe going on the aggressive. Unfortunately, Jenko is a little bit more on point. And look how on point he is as he lands the follow-up headshot on towards Chetty. Just single-handedly taking down United Estonia right now. Boaster is going to be coming in from the rear, just slowly tiptoes round, but Red Snake with a timing. Dream as well, the shot off on towards HS, and it's just rides on Mick. No time, no frags, and no luck as he gets taken down. That is going to be a 15-15 Joe. It's overtime.
It certainly is. And that shot from Red Snake where he just like looked at the perfect moment, that's the kind of shot where you get accused of wall hacking in matchmaking right there when they're like, there's no way you knew I was coming. But it is going to mean that we go to overtime here. United Estonia and Team Infused tied at the end of this first game. And it's certainly going to be a tricky one because we've seen United Estonia had a very, very strong kind of first half. Well, a start to each half is what I'm trying to say. So that could be a big factor coming into overtime here. Obviously, you only have three round halves. So United Estonia, if they can have a strong start at the start of each half like they have in the regular game, then maybe they'll be able to find something. But obviously, it's a little bit nullified since you don't have pistol rounds. It's a pretty different situation.
But that's the scary factor as well, is we've seen sort of how dominant UE can be on those pistol rounds early on. Off the fact of those being eliminated when we get into this extended time when we're in OT. This is where Infused as well, especially on that CT side. They can keep up the aggression they found in those previous 2 rounds where they started to get a lot of life behind them again. More organic stuff coming out. You could see them bringing the pain and actually taking the fight towards UE. This is where they should do the damage. There's no sort of factor of UE coming in there just popping off heads off the back of Chetty, somehow just going mental with a 5-7. Or even a Tech 9 for that matter. They need to try and find their footing now, and they have to do it early. They need basically a flawless half in their CT half, really. And Lumji's going to kick that off as he takes down Boaster, but what more can they do? Chetty will respond, eliminates him, but there's Roma and Red Snake, the 2 Rs, as they begin to roar their way through. Mick will take one single shot to actually take him down, though. It's a 3 versus 2. They smoke off second cross towards Bomb Train, just clearing the site as well. Joe a little bit paranoid right now, very anxious. They don't want to throw this one away, as they still have a lot left on the line. Yeah,
I can't really say I blame him at this point, but they need to look towards getting that bomb down sooner rather than later. They still have a lot of time to work with, but the CTs are going to be closing in onto them. Roma just around the corner there, as well as Dream with his AWP. It looks like they are going to decide to go for that plant in the end. And now that's the cue for Roma to start to sneak forwards. Dream, as I said, rocking that sniper, but it's going to be Jenko going down to the AK of Joe, but now suddenly Mick finds himself alone as his teammate is going to fall. Roma going to be the first one to push onto the site here, gets a pop flash Needs to be careful on this one, but it is going to be Mick finding that first kill, and he might just be able to find the round. Dream has the AWP, though. The frag is going to go in, 11 HP to play with as the molly comes in, forces him out, but he gets the shot anyway. And that is going to be Mick taking the round, grabs an AWP, just as a bit of a silver lining there as well. And it's going to be United Estonia kicking this overtime off for themselves.
That's great stuff as well. This is what they need. They have to try and keep that early pace, really keep the aggression going, a little bit of a return to form, because they had quite a dominant half, and then all of a sudden Infused, they kicked it back up again. As soon as there's that slight lull in the confidence of Infused, this is where UE start to dominate. If they can try and keep this pressure on, basically if they pick up this round, the cash of Infused will be quite awkward as well, so they should actually pick up the third one. And Joe with the entry, finally back on the aggression, able to land these shots, takes down Lumji. Dream will respond, but it's already far too late as the rest of his teammates, they've been rallied by that war cry as they start to just absolutely obliterate everyone on the scene. Red Snake is going to have to go completely huge to really take him down a notch. Isn't going to work out. Jenko is all caught on the ladder as he slowly descends. Will be sent to the pits of hell by a Boaster.
Certainly will, and that is another round for United Estonia. They're looking towards a 3-round half of this overtime. And that was definitely not the situation Infused want to find themselves in, especially with Infused starting on this CT side for the first over half. Like, that is bad news going up, knowing that you have to win 3 rounds as a terrorist should United Estonia win this one. I mean, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, obviously. Team Infused haven't lost this round just yet, but they haven't got a lot to work with, and Mick is going to really make a statement. But as I say that, Lumji starts to really kick things off for Infused and trying to get his team back onto this scoreboard right now. But look at the health bars as well. Joe on 2, Chetty on 9. It's definitely winnable still for Team Infused. The bomb has gone down, and now it's about time that Infused kick things off. Joe, oh no, Red Snake missing his shots right there. I feel like that should have been a kill, but it just wasn't in the end. And now Joe suddenly the last man remaining. He's just going to try and wait and kill any diffusers, but we'll get finished off. And I just about counted Infused out at the start of that round when they lost that first member, but they somehow managed to claw it back, and suddenly, by the skin of their teeth, they're staying in this game.
So it was really good there as well, is the fact no one was actually covering the backwards angle towards mid-main. So Roma, he was able to go all the way around from Ivy. By the time he popped out, just instantly 2 frags on the board with the Famis that he had. The best weapon and the best position to be in that situation, so just Tez for everyone. Really, it was good stuff as well from Lumji. It's been sort of the back and forth of Lumji and Jenko. When these 2 guys are popping off, that's what's been shaking up UE to the point. If these guys are on point right now, and we can see that following through to their T-half, they've still got a lifeline. They've got a little bit of breathing room, but they're going to have to keep hitting their shots. We can't see any of that sort of go to waste. And this is what I was saying was enjoyable about watching Jenko as well, is sort of into the later weeks, especially for Infused. It seems like he's got so much confidence now, and he really has just been going for these aggressive sort of style of plays. So it's been great stuff.
Yeah, it certainly has. And we'll see whether they can keep it up in the second half of overtime here, as United Estonia will be heading over towards that CT side, and Team Infused over towards being the terrorists. But I feel like we've seen a lot of very dominant terrorist sides, despite, you know, you would say generally, I mean, this is something you talked about earlier,
yeah.
You'd say in general it's a fairly CT-sided map in general, Train, but within the UK, that seems like less of a factor, and it certainly felt that way in this game.
Yeah, it is a little bit more skewed in the UK, especially. You see it being quite different. It's not actually played as much as maybe you'd like to see in the UK as well. There's quite a hit, so it's an interesting map choice for both these teams. It's not one I actually really expected to see, so it's been fairly exciting so far.
Yeah, I've got to say, I wasn't really expecting to be casting Train today when I came into the studio earlier, but here we are, and I mean, these players, we're saying how it's not a map that's played a lot in the UK. It's not like these guys have been playing awfully on Train or anything like that. It's just kind of a matter of it's not a map that we see a lot. And maybe this is the start of something. Maybe this is going to be a map that maybe we start to see more in the UK scene.
What's going to be interesting as well is obviously into the next season of Prem when we don't see Inferno in the map pool. And that's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Although we've not really seen that much Inferno. We've certainly seen less Inferno this season than last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Clash is sort of the hot one right now.
Yeah,
everyone's playing Clash.
Last season it was like Inferno, Dust 2, Cash. Those were the only maps that existed. But
talking about Inferno though, Lumji, he's hot, Joe, as he takes down Mick.
He's flirting with the players right now.
Yeah, he's a really cute guy.
Here we go. The push going to be over towards this B side by the looks of things. Boaster once again on this train spot. He loves this spot, absolutely adores it, but his teammate is going to be taken down by Red Snake straight away as Red Snake turns around and sprays his team. Not 100% sure what happened there, to be quite honest, but they are going to be able to push on into this site. Boaster stepping forwards, very aggressive, finds one for himself, finds a second, doesn't quite get that hat trick, but the USP should finish off Jenko, and Boaster making this round matter for his team. And now with just 2 terrorists remaining, that is going to be the defuse coming through. United Estonia win this first round of the half yet again. I feel like I've said that a million times in this game, but United Estonia once again on match point.
Give me your boasties, Joe.
I'm not sure why we're on camera
I don't
there.
know what's going on there, but give me your boasties. Well, that was interesting.
It certainly was. But, yeah, you can have my boasties, that's for sure. That's what Joe's telling Lumji is we missed just about all of the kills that are going to happen this round. And
Red Snake, more like Dead Snake Joe.
Yeah.
Dream, he's going to try and bring it back a little bit though. Wants to avenge his fallen brethren. Dream as well, definitely popping off now. Brings the battle of attrition back into a 3 versus 3. Unfortunately, eventually hits the ground, bested by the orb of HS. And it's a 1-for-1 trade across the board. 2 versus 1 now. Jenko's the last man standing on the side of Team Infused. Can he keep them in it, Joe? Will he take it in towards double OT? Or will this be UE's closing it out?
well, he's only got a minute to keep them in it.
To win it. In it.
Well, I was going to go for one there, but it was just awful. I'm not even going to put you guys through that. But Jenko finds a nice little headshot, puts one straight between the eyes of Joe, doing his very best Robin Hood impression right there. And he does have that bomb, so we'll be able to at least drop that one down. And it means that Boaster is the one that really has to be the aggressor now. He's the one that has to try and answer Jenko, not the other way around. And we'll see what he's going to be able to do. We've seen Boaster, he seems strongest when he's in a corner waiting for them, but he's going to be able to find the one onto Jenko. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, that United Estonia have managed to take this very first game of the night. Went into overtime, but a very convincing overtime for United Estonia, and that is going to mean that they guarantee